Hi, I'm Steph, and today we are going to walk through my September 2026 bullet journal pages. September is one of my favorite months of the year because it has such romantic light, and that is absolutely reflected through all of the design choices I made in the pages that I set up for September. I can't wait to walk through all of the different choices that I made, some of the things I'm thinking about as we approach the month of September, what I hope to record, what I hope to remember, and the memories I want to create. So thank you for joining. Let's dive in.
This is Journaled by Steph, a YouTube channel all about bullet journaling. Thanks for watching. First, let's dive into supplies. I heavily use magazine clippings for my bullet journal pages. I keep a stash of them per season in my closet, and as I'm preparing for the month, I pull out as many images that I can find that kind of evoke the feeling of that particular month. So you'll see for September, I'm laying out some of my selections. They are muted in color, which is kind of how September feels to me. There's a strong cozy vibe because we're getting into the first days of fall. There's some mountain scenes. I frequently visit the mountains in September. There are pictures that try to capture the light of September, which I think is some of the most romantic light of the year. And overall, these collections come together, and then I sort of lay them out, figure out which pages they fit on. Some of them I'll cut down to size, and they provide the design visual foundation for each of the pages to follow. Other supplies include stickers, washi tape, colored pencils, markers, and then your basic art supplies. Now let's talk about September's cover. In the past, my September covers always have a similar feeling, as you'll see here. They have a fall color palette, and then you'll notice I have this special feather feature that I do every month in September. So the first thing I do is find my image that I'm going to use. I mark the center of the page really loosely with my finger, come through and cut it in half. I glue it down with a glue stick, and then I run some washi tape along the side of it just for a little extra pop of color and visual interest, and that sets the foundation for the page. And then I set up my feather. So as I mentioned, I do this every September. It's kind of my September icon. I have a page that I cut out from my very first journal, so the first feather that I did, which I laid beneath the page, and I'm just tracing here. So that's what you're seeing me do, hand tracing the feather image. It does not have to be perfect, and then I'm going to go back through and add lines, and then I'm going to add some embellishment in a gold pin just to give it kind of some fun dimension. Last but not least, I'm going to add some gold sticker letters. I do not have enough to spell out all of September. I tried, but I do have enough to abbreviate it. So that's what we're going to go with this month, SEP, and I obviously need to restock on glitter stickers. The next spread is, I call it my TOC. I don't know why, but it is the place that I like to put a monthly bucket list. September's is always one of my favorite of the year. If you're a Pinterest enthusiast, you'll know that Pinterest is so flooded with fall bucket lists. And I think it's because early fall, or just even the anticipation of fall, is so fun. And I am no exception. I love setting up my September bucket list. It usually includes things like going to visit the elk rut. I live close to Rocky Mountain National Park. I love to do that annually. I like to go up to the mountains and hike in the fall color. I like to start thinking about how I'm going to decorate for Halloween. So those ideas are exactly the kind of thing that I put in this box right on the left. And then I also usually include a photo, maybe a quote, maybe a sticker, something else for the spaces on the right. And now we turn to September's monthly calendar. This is a hardworking page for me. I keep track of all my appointments, birthdays, special dates. I like to add some kind of magazine collage if I can get it to fit, which is what you're seeing me do here. So along the far right, I'm going to put some photos, again, that seem very September to me. Of course, you see my feather. I've already added that. And I will hand letter September in gold marker. I put a heart sticker at the end. What you don't see is my gold marker totally like bled out at the very end of my R, leaving this big blob. So that is where stickers come in handy. They cover a multitude of design problems. So get yourself some stickers. It helps. Let's dive into the weekly spreads. What you're seeing here is a sample from last year's completed weekly spreads, and I like to show this to you so that you can kind of see how these pages look at the end of the month after I've filled in every daily square. So let's set up September 2025. I lay out my collage pictures per spread. Usually I have 3, and then I set them down with washi tape. I pick one edge of the photo and I put the washi tape down. This allows me to lift up the magazine page so that I can write underneath. So I kind of get the best of both worlds. I get all the fun visual pop with the pictures, but then I also have lots of writing room, which is part of the key reason I journal in the first place. After the pictures are set, I embellish the rest of the squares. So I like to color in the moments to remember title. I like to add stickers. And I often will include a placeholder for a photo. I have a little HP Sprocket printer that I'll print actual photos from the month. And a couple weeks I usually have space for that. So I like the visual variety of stickers and hand-drawn elements, and plus lots of writing room because, again, that's sort of the whole point. Now let's flip through all of September's weekly spreads. There are 4 weeks in September, so here is an overview of how all the different pages came together. I just started doing this full picture on the left, and I actually kind of love it. I don't know why, I've never done this before. You'll notice that I have my feather on every single page. It's carried throughout the whole month, and lots of fun stickers and other details. Here is the final spread. I call it my feature, and these are samples of previous feature spreads from September's in the past. And there's always a variety of different themes that I focus on. So let's lay out this September's feature spread. I am going to use the same peekaboo window technique that I used during my weekly spreads. So I'm going to put these photos down. I'm going to attach them on one side with washi tape so that I have a lot of room beneath every photo in order to write, to create habit trackers, maybe a mood tracker. I'm setting up September, and I actually haven't decided yet what I want to focus on for these features. So usually I like to spend part of the page setting goals. This is where habit trackers come in. This is where I have intentions. I may be trying to keep track of something, hold myself accountable. And then the other half of the page, I lately have been using for end of the month reflections. And I have kind of 2 ways that I do that. One is I envision the future, and usually that's the short-term future. And so I write a few notes about kind of what I see, what I'd like to experience in the months to come. And then the other section is 5 pillars that I reflect on. So physical, spiritual, relational, mental, and financial. And I make notes every month at the end of the month about just those topics, those categories, how I'm feeling, how I'm doing, any growth, anything noteworthy. Maybe sometimes it's negative notes. Those are also valuable. So that is September's feature spread, and I can't wait to get it all filled out and complete by the end of the month. Here is the final flip through of September. September to me is always such a straddle month, so I feel like the first half is very much summer, but the second half starts to feel a lot like fall. And it's that transition that I find so enchanting, honestly. Again, I feel like the light is so romantic. It's just such a special transition month. It's such a good time for reflection, maybe a little reset, maybe some gratitude, and each of these pages is going to help me do those things.
Well, that is a wrap. Thank you so much for walking with me through September 2026. I hope that your September is full of lots of romantic light, lots of wonderful early fall memories. I want to remind you that I publish regularly on Substack. You can journal along with me over there in that space. I will put a link in the description for how you can join. It's a free email newsletter. I share these page reveals in that place first. I also publish a lot of extra articles, different journal features that I'm doing, things I'm doing with my digital journal that I don't always share here, seasonal ideas, check-ins from me, journal prompts. It's just a lot of fun. So again, the link to join is in the subscriptions, totally free. I would love to have you. And I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next in October. Bye.